Hey there, football fans. Well, we are in the playoffs. It's flown by, but week one of the playoffs begins on Friday, and I wanted to go over just a general overview of some of the teams. We've got 20 that are in the playoffs that are all out for a state championship, but really who are the top contenders? And I've narrowed it down to 3 teams that I really like that I think have a legitimate chance to bring home the ultimate prize. 2 of those are in Class 3A, and that's St. Augustine and Jackson. Both 10-0, had excellent seasons, particularly on the defensive side of the football, and that's what gets you through these brackets at this time of year, is playing strong defense, limiting the opponent. Both those teams can do that. They may meet in the second round of the playoffs. That would be a gargantuan showdown in a regional semifinal. Another team, obviously, is Bowles, traditionally one of the strongest teams in the area, Class 2A this year. They're going to face some serious hurdles in South Sumter and Madison County down the road, but they have a pretty easy game to get into the playoffs this week, and certainly the Bulldogs should be right in the thick of it. So those are the 3 teams that I really think out of the 20 have a great chance. As far as some teams to kind of keep an eye on, some dark horses that didn't win the district championships in their districts, but I think can make a run on the road. The first one is Ed White. Now, they have a tremendous challenge this week. They've got to go to Pensacola to take out Pine Forest, but they've got a great running game led by Casey Turner and Leon Jackson. Their defense is sound, and they've been battle-tested in District 3-5A. So I think White can go in there and give them a good game, and if they're in it in the fourth quarter, maybe the ball bounces their way and they get a huge upset. But I think they're a team to watch. Another team I like going on the road is Lee. The Generals have a fantastic defense. They lost to Jackson last week 12-7. They really are sound on the defensive side of the football. And again, when you're going on the road, if you can play strong defense, you should give yourself a chance. And then I like Nice. They're going to Gainesville. This is a team with a tremendous championship pedigree. They're going to be a tough out. They're going into Eastside. I think they're starting to get they're starting to get it together. They're playing better football. They've got a 3-game winning streak. I think Nice could be a dangerous team. That's not a team you want to see coming into your backyard in the first round of the playoffs. So I'd watch out for those teams. As far as teams that could be on upset watch immediately, Fletcher, they're undefeated, 10-0, but they're going up against a very, very good Niceville team. Niceville's only lost 1 game, and it cost them their district title, but they beat Fletcher in the playoffs last year pretty convincingly. So even though Fletcher's 10-0, that great season could unravel fast against Niceville on Friday. Another district champion locally that I think might be in some trouble is Orange Park. They're going to face a Pine Ridge team that, again, has only lost once. It was to their district champion. They're a team that could come in and give Orange Park some trouble. So if Fletcher and Orange Park can get past this first round, then that could really give them a lot of momentum going forward. But that's kind of the buzz right now as far as week 1 of the playoffs. We'll be back next week to break it all down and preview week 2 of the playoffs. You got to figure at least one of these 20 is going to keep going. So I think that's a safe statement that we will be talking next week. More playoff football. Until then, take care, guys.
High school football in St. Johns County, we have reached the end of the regular season. Playoffs are here and they begin tonight. We'll talk about those in 1 minute, and we'll talk about last week's game, regular season finale for most of the county teams. St. Augustine, a 28-14 winner over Ridgeview. Ridgeview was 6-4, not a bad season for Ridgeview. St. Augustine went in there, 3 touchdowns from Marlon Williams. Jackets finished 10-0, unbeaten regular season for just the 5th time in program history. Ponte Vedra falls 27-6 to Palm Coast Matanzas. Creekside falls 73-0 to Jacksonville Bowles. So Creekside and Ponte Vedra both finished with 2 wins in their first season. St. Joseph ends its regular season with a 59-0 beating over Florida Def. That's the most lopsided victory in that series, and that series has been going around. It's the longest-running rivalry in the county and one of the longest in the state. That brings us to the regular season statistical leaders. We'll start off with rushing first. Scott Jones from St. Joseph, 1,061 yards, 14 touchdowns to win the regular season rushing title. Receiving, Nice's Patrick Barker. Granted, the guy only played 9 games. He still cracked 1,000 yards. He turns in at 1,043 yards and 9 touchdowns. Nick Smith, Bartram Trail receiver, finished the year leading touchdown catcher in the county with 10. Mark Sturgis from St. Augustine, a field goal kicker. He's 9-13 on field goals. And last but not least, passing, Nice quarterback Tyler Weir, 146 for 270, 1,745 yards and 16 touchdowns. He is the leading passer in the county. Moving on to playoff games, and here is why we like this part of the season. It's one and done for any team, so the stakes substantially raised. 1 game in town tonight, St. Augustine. St. Augustine 10-0, one of the only 4 unbeaten teams left in Class 3A. A great first-round matchup, Baker County from Glen St. Mary. Baker County 9-1, and they love to run the ball. This is a rematch of second-round battle last year, won by St. Augustine 30-6. Baker County was 10-1 entering that game, and they run the ball very well, and St. Augustine shuts the run down. Baker County nearly 2,000 yards rushing as a team this season, and St. Augustine has not allowed a 100-yard rusher in nearly 2 full seasons. So the Yellow Jackets on a streak there, and one of those streaks will end tonight. Either Baker County's streak of running for more than 100 in a game, or St. Augustine's streak of not allowing a 100-yard rusher. Should be a good one there. Going up to Jacksonville, Andrew Jackson 10-0, one of the 4 unbeaten teams in the state, and Menendez making its first playoff berth in program history at 8-2. We'll have seen 2 of those 10-0 teams after tonight. Menendez did play St. Augustine earlier in the season, lost that game. Nonetheless, rebounded and grinded out with defense a state playoff berth. So that is going to be a tough assignment. Jackson has not allowed a team to score more than 8 points in a game all season, and that's pretty impressive with some of the teams that they've faced. And Jackson and St. Augustine could be headed for a 11-0 meeting, a meeting of 11-0 teams in the second round next week. St. Augustine would host, no matter who wins, the Menendez-Jackson game. Last but not least, Class 4A, Nease, a little bit different of a situation for Nease this year. They're 6-3, made the playoffs as a district runner-up. Ridgeview ended up winning their district, and Nease starts the playoffs on the road tonight at Gainesville Eastside. For the first time in recent memory, Nease is actually having to play a game on the road. Nease 13-2 in the playoffs since 2005, one of the best records in the state. A little bit tougher of an assignment tonight, going to 9-1 Eastside and seeing if they can pull one out on the road. We'll get back to you next week for a recap of this week's playoff games and a preview of next week's games. That's it for another edition of St. Johns County Football.